Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The General Directorate of Communication of the Presidency of the Republic has denied the holding of any media interviews between the President of the Republic, Mr. Al-Majid Tebboune, and foreign media outlets as reported by several social media accounts. And the foreign ministers of several Arab and Muslim countries have condemned and rejected the continued Israeli attacks on Iran, calling for the respect of the state's sovereignty, their territorial integrity, and for a peaceful settlement of disputes. The Iranian army has affirmed having targeted an Israeli intelligence service center on the fifth day of the conflict opposing the two sides. And those were the major developments. Now the full news edition. I'm Assia Bakar. Good afternoon. The General Directorate of Communications of the Presidency of the Republic has denied the holding of any media interviews between the President of the Republic, Mr. Al-Majid Tebboune, and foreign media outlets as reported by several social media accounts. Jamal Salmani has the details.
The General Directorate of Communication of the Presidency of the Republic said in a statement that for several hours, several social media accounts have been sharing information that the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, made an interview with French newspapers. This alleged interview has been republished by several online media sites, even though it is a complete fabrication made from scratch by hostile accounts using phone editing techniques to mislead public opinion, both nationally and internationally. The General Directorate of Communication of the Presidency of the Republic strongly condemned these scandalous and immoral practices made possible by new information and communication technologies used by defamation reporters operating from behind the scenes. It called on all media professionals in Algeria and abroad to show rigor and check the authenticity of such information with their official sources.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Al-Majid Tebboune, has discussed with his German counterpart, Mr. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, the current international situation, as well as the excellent and strong bilateral relations linking the two countries. In a telephone conversation, the two presidents discussed the world's prevailing global situation, including the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the conflict in the Middle East, notably the situation in Gaza, the attack on Iran, as well as the situation in the Sahel region. The two presidents also discussed the excellent and strong bilateral relations linking the two friendly countries at all levels, agreeing to develop them further and to work together on all issues of common concern. And now the foreign ministers of several Arab and Muslim countries have condemned and rejected the continued Israeli attacks on Iran, calling for the respect of the state's sovereignty, their territories integrity, and for a peaceful settlement of disputes. The details with Jamal Salmani in this report.
In a joint communique, the diplomacy chiefs of Algeria, Jordan, Pakistan, Bahrain, Brunei, Turkey, Chad, Gambia, the Comoro Islands, Djibouti, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Somalia, the United Arab Emirates, Iraq, Oman, Qatar, Kuwait, Libya, Egypt, and Mauritania stressed the necessity to abide by the principles of good neighborliness and the peaceful settlement of conflicts regarding the rapid regional developments and the unprecedented escalation of tensions in the Middle East. They expressed their deep concern at the dangerous escalation that threatens the security and stability of the whole region and underscored the necessity to put a halt to Israel's hostile actions against Iran, reiterating the rejection of any practice that runs counter the international law and the UN Charter's principles. The ministers highlighted the importance of reducing tensions in the Middle East with a view to paving the way for a ceasefire and for a global return to calm. In this respect, they also highlighted the imperative of not targeting the nuclear facilities in conformity with the decisions of the International Atomic Energy Agency and the UN Security Council, while recalling that any attack would constitute a blatant violation of the international law and the international humanitarian law. The foreign ministers of the 21 Muslim and Arab countries reiterated the necessity of reactivating the negotiation process as soon as possible in order to reach a lasting agreement on the Iranian nuclear program. They further stressed the importance of respecting the freedom of navigation as provided for by the international law in order not to endanger the international maritime security, reiterating that diplomacy and dialogue remain the only means of settling regional crises, while assuring that a military solution cannot help settle current crises.
You still listen to Radio Algeria International, and the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmad Attaf, has received a telephone call from his Iranian counterpart, Mr. Abbas Araghchi. During the call, the Minister of State was informed by his Iranian counterpart of the developments and the situation arising from Israel's aggression against Iran, as well as the repercussion of this aggression on the security and integrity of the region. For his part, Mr. Attaf reaffirmed Algeria's position, which, while condemning this aggression, emphasizes the imperative of allowing the United Nations Security Council to assume its responsibilities to enforce the rules of international law and the principles of the UN Charter in order to put an end to the Israeli attacks on several fronts that have plunged the entire region into a spiral of violence, insecurity, and instability. And now the Iranian army has affirmed having targeted an Israeli intelligence services center on the fifth day of the conflict opposing the two countries. According to the Iranian state television, Israeli strategic targets, including an operations planning center, was also hit, assuring that massive drone attacks using new arms have started and new will intensify in the coming hours. You still listen to Radio Algeria International, and earlier the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi strongly denounced, as he put it, the cowardice and despair of the Israeli attack after the state television headquarters in Tehran were hit by airstrikes. 3 people were killed in the attack. Earlier, President Masoud Pezeshkian affirmed that Iran would respond to the Israeli acts of aggression, whatever their scale, while recalling that the Iranians who did not initiate the war would respond to the war crimes. The Israeli attacks have so far claimed 224 lives, including several senior army officers and prominent scientists. And in New York, Iranian ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Saeed Iravani, told reporters that the Israeli aggression against his country is a serious violation of the United Nations Charter and fundamental principles of international law, adding that attacks against peaceful nuclear facility could endanger the whole region if Iran did not intervene to contain the situation.
Israel has committed a blatant act of aggression against the sovereign and territorial integrity of Iran. Its relentless campaign of atrocities against our people continues unabated. This is a serious violation of the United Nations Charter and fundamental principles of international law. These attacks crossed all red lines. Israel deliberately targeted a peaceful nuclear facility operating under full IAEA safeguards. This is a dangerous and illegal act. It posed a serious risk of releasing radioactive material. If Iran had not immediately contained the situation, the consequences could have been catastrophic. Israeli claims of surgical strike is false and misleading.
And speaking about the attack on Iran's state TV, Ambassador Iravani said that the Israel occupation holds a disgraceful record of being the world's leading perpetrator of violence against journalists and media professionals. Ambassador Iravani also said the U.S. forces supported Israeli aggression. Without the U.S. weapons, he said, intelligence and political backing, this attack could not have happened, warning that any country insisting or assisting Israel's aggression will share legal responsibility for the consequences.
Iran does not seek war or escalation, but we will not hesitate to defend our people, our territory, and our sovereignty. Unlike the Israeli regime, Iran respects the international humanitarian law. We did not target civilians. The U.S. forces supported Israeli aggression. Without the U.S. weapons, intelligence and political backing, this attack could not have happened. The United States will share responsibility for this unlawful act. This aggression came just as the 6th round of nuclear negotiation was about to resume in Muscat yesterday. Iran came to the table in good faith with a new proposal aimed at bridging differences. We call on the Security Council to condemn this act of aggression, hold the aggressor and their enablers accountable, take urgent action to prevent further aggression.
The Iranian diplomat has reiterated that the so-called existential threat narrative is false, it has no legal basis, and it is used only to justify aggression and hide Israel's war crimes. The World Health Organization representative in the occupied Palestinian territories, Dr. Rick Peppercorn, has said that in Gaza the health system is at a breaking point, adding that the ongoing Iranian-Israeli war must not derive our attention from what is happening in Gaza.
We all know that the global attention shifts to the escalating tension between Iran and Israel, but we should continue to focus on Gaza and to a lesser extent the West Bank. Gaza continues to be decimated and largely out of sight, but not out of danger. And when I focus on the health system is at a breaking point. We only have 17 out of Gaza's 36 hospitals. They are currently partly to minimum functional. Of these, just 4, including Nasser Medical Complex, are major referral facilities. So the combined bed capacity is less than 1,500 beds. In the north of Gaza, it's even more concerning. All hospitals and primary healthcare centers are currently out of services.
That was the statement of the World Health Organization representative in the occupied Palestinian territory. And back to the country now, the Speaker of the People's National Assembly, Mr. Brahim Boughali, has affirmed that the adopted bills concerning the budget regulation for the 2022 fiscal year, mining activities, general mobilization and retirement will strengthen the legislative and institutional foundations of strategic sectors, contributing to the consolidation of the foundations of a victorious new Algeria. Mr. Sharfi has the details.
In his speech following the vote on the 4 bills, Mr. Boughali stated that these texts aim to reinforce the legislative and institutional foundations of strategic sectors, contributing to the consolidation of the foundations of victorious new Algeria under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. Addressing current global challenges, the Assembly's Speaker stressed the need to strengthen the domestic front and build on recent gains, especially in food and national security, highlighting the Army's unity with the people as a shield against conspiracies and aggression.
We are intensifying efforts to strengthen the domestic front and to continue advancing with creative and innovative thinking in order to complete the strides Algeria has made in all fields, particularly the recent achievements in food security, which herald a new era of localization and the reinforcement of national sovereignty. This is a challenge that adds to the series of accomplished goals, foremost among them our national security, which is safeguarded by our valiant and loyal army, closely bounded with the people in a legendary unity that has consistently proven that Algeria was, is, and will remain invincible to all conspirators, opportunists and haters who are disturbed by Algeria being a voice that defends truth and justice and rejects oppression and aggression.
In this regard, Mr. Boughali affirmed that the parliamentarians, who are representatives of the people longing for peaceful coexistence, must unite in rejecting the Israeli occupation's crime in Palestine and its attacks on Iran, calling for a courageous stand in defense of global peace, justice and international law.
As parliamentarians, we can only call upon all our fellow freedom-loving colleagues around the world to reject the criminal behavior, repeated aggressions, and the undermining of global peace and security. What the Zionist entity is doing in Palestine, along with its attacks on the Islamic Republic of Iran and its fueling of wars, calls for a courageous stand, especially from parliamentarians who represent the voice of the people or the voices of nations, yearning for peace and peaceful coexistence. It is a stand that restores humanity's values, which the forces of evil seek to destroy and eliminate in order to drag the world into a dark tunnel that from which it will be difficult to escape unless the righteous rise up to restore balance, to reinstate the values of justice and truth, and to reinforce the rule of international law for all.
Mr. Boughali emphasized that the adopted legislation reflects Algeria's forward-looking vision and firm commitment to stability, development, and principled positions in the face of global challenges.
You also listen to Radio Algeria International. The Minister of Justice, Keeper of the Seals, Lotfi Boujamaa, has affirmed in Algiers that the bill on general mobilization will contribute to strengthening the legal arsenal related to proactive preparation to face crises and threats and to defend the supreme interests of the country. Mr. Shorfi again.
In a speech made after the adoption of the bill, he said that it reinforces national interest and the Army-People bond, expressing confidence that Algeria will overcome all conspiracies through unity and patriotism.
We are intensifying efforts to strengthen the domestic front and to continue advancing with creative and innovative thinking in order to complete the strides Algeria has made in all fields, particularly the recent achievements in food security, which herald a new era of this draft law aligns with the relentless efforts made to provide the means to defend the nation's supreme interests. It particularly enshrines the sacred bond of an army of the people, through which our country gains greater strength, resilience, and strategic solidity, enabling it to achieve the major goals of a rising Algeria. I'm fully confident that thanks to the efforts of all loyal patriots and in light of the cohesion and solidarity of Algerian society, the Algeria of martyrs will be able to thwart all schemes and conspiracies and foil every plot aiming our state and its republican system.
The minister commended the contribution of MPs during the debate and urged them in countering hostile narratives. He highlighted the MPs' professionalism and commitment to national security, emphasizing its vital role in safeguarding the republic. Mr. Boujamaa expressed confidence in Algeria's continued progress and growing regional and international influence, guided by unity, sovereignty, and the leadership of President Abdelmajid Tebboune.
You also listen to Radio Algeria International. The Secretary of State to the Minister of Foreign Affairs in charge of the national community abroad, Mr. Sofian Shaib, has received a delegation from the Central American Parliament led by the Chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs and Migration, Mr. Engels Martin Pineda Garcia, now on an official visit to our country. The meeting provided an opportunity to discuss friendship and cooperation relations between Algeria and the Parliament, as well as ways to strengthen them and give a new impetus to parliamentary relations and joint action with the member states of this regional parliamentary body. They discussed elevating parliamentary relations to the level of historical ties uniting Algeria and Latin American countries based on the respect for the state's sovereignty, non-interference in internal affairs, and support for the right of peoples to self-determination. During the meeting, which was attended by the Chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Community at the APN, Mr. Mohamed Khawan, was an opportunity to examine the various opportunities for cooperation with the countries of the region and examine ways and means to further consolidate and promote them. And now the Minister of Labour, Employment and Social Security, Mr. Faisal Bentaleb, has received his Jordanian counterpart, Mr. Faras Ibrahim Al-Hawari, now on a working visit to Algeria. During the meeting, Mr. Bentaleb praised the historical relations between the two countries, stressing the importance of strengthening bilateral cooperation, particularly in the area of health contracting. For his part, the Jordanian Health Minister praised the brotherly and cooperation relation uniting the two countries, welcoming the Algerian proposal and expressing his country's willingness to develop partnership with Algeria in the field of health and expand it to other areas in the best interest of both countries. You still listen to Radio Algeria International. That's it for our news bulletin. I invite you now to listen to our health magazine compiled and presented by Mohammed Khater.